Okay, we're on page M7-17, and today we're going to talk about linear functions in slope-intercept form. A linear function, which just means a line, is a function that creates a straight line. Now, the most important thing that we'll learn today is slope-intercept form. This is a formula that helps us identify parts of a linear function. And it's written as y equals mx plus b. M, just like in the last section, is the slope, and b is going to be the y-intercept. That means that's the point where that line meets the y-axis. So write slope and y-intercept in the blank and write that formula in the box. On our examples, on number 1, they give us that slope is 3 and y-intercept is -5. So we're going to take the 3. I'm going to write the blank formula over here. We're going to take the 3 and plug it in where the slope goes. We're going to add our x plus, and then stick our -5 back here. And we're done. Number 2, they give us slope as -1/2 and y-intercept as -3. Same thing here. Looking at our blank formula, y equals, put the -1/2 where the m is, x plus -3. And that's your answer there. Let's skip down to number 4. They give us a slope of 5/6 and a y-intercept of 0. Once again, we plug in the slope where the m is, and we plug in the y-intercept where the b is. However, this time, this is 0 for b. Since adding 0 to anything doesn't change it, we're going to drop that 0, and we're just going to write that as y equals 5/6x. So if you see an equation written in slope-intercept form that looks like this, that means that it has the y-intercept of 0. Moving down to the graphs. They're going to give us a graph on number 6, and they want us to find the slope from the graph and the y-intercept, and then write the equation. Alright, so for number 6, we're going to look and see that I always find the y-intercept first because it's the easiest. Where does it hit the y-axis? Well, that line hits the y-axis on 5. And when we count our slope, it looks like it is 4/4, which is positive slope, and it's going to reduce to +1. Anything over itself is 1. So now what we do is we have to take those two numbers that we found and we have to plug them into our equation. Y equals 1x plus 5. Well, you know how they are with the 1 and the x. They say we really don't need that, so we can just drop that 1 and write that as y equals x plus 5. And we'll do that on the next 2 pages as well. Find your slope first, then find your y-intercept. Actually, find your y-intercept first, then find your slope. Then you're going to take what you get and plug it into the equation. And that's how we work with slope-intercept forms. Very useful because we can look exactly at the equation and know where everything goes and what everything means. So make sure you memorize the blank formula and make sure that you know where to plug in and how to find your y-intercept and your slope. So, in conclusion, we need to know how to find slope from a graph. We did that yesterday, so no big deal there. We need to know how to identify the y-intercept. Well, we look at our graph and see where it hits the y-axis, and that's our y-intercept. So we count to that. Remember, anything above the x-axis is positive, anything below the x-axis is negative. We now need to take the slope and the y-intercept and plug into slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. And that's it.